no, what am I doing? Soundboard fail.
Yeah.
What's
All
going
right.
on, everyone? I am live with my new friend Carrie, and brownie points if you can tell me what this background is from that I am sporting here with my woo floating head.
That's awesome.
So welcome, Carrie. We've been like talking a lot in chat and having tons of fun, and this is our first time actually talking in real life.
I know you're my kind of peeps. I can tell. I can
Yeah,
tell.
it's good. It's good. So while people are coming in, we have some people in the chat already. We got Susan. What's going on, Susan? Long time no see.
Oh,
Since last night. We got Mike Shaw
oh,
TV.
yeah. He's cool. He's always in the chat.
Yeah.
Yep.
And we got Susan. I rarely have them now. Okay, they're having conversation. They're having conversations in
Hmm.
the chat already. Susan, my girl, my
Yes,
girl,
that's
my
right.
girl. I was trying to find. I have the Futurama background with the actual people in screen, but I think that would be a little too distracting. Like last night, I had Stewie in the background. I couldn't stop staring at Stewie. What's going on, Becky?
Hey,
Aw.
Keto for Oregonian.
And then we got Karen. What's going
Hey,
on?
Karen.
All right. Well, while people are entering the chat, I'm super excited to get to know my friend Carrie, and we're going to talk again tomorrow night with Dave of No Carb Life. So it's a week full of Carrie and Nicole. You're welcome,
That's
everyone.
right.
So,
The people spoke, man. We had to give them what they wanted, right?
so why don't we start off by just introducing yourself for those who don't know, and since we have both of our chats in the both of our subs in the chat, I'll do the same. We'll just do quick introductions, and then we'll just get into chatting.
Sure. Okay. Well, my name is Carrie. I'm 57. I started low carb back in 2015. My mother was diagnosed with type 2 diabetes in the early 2000s. And I saw by the time 2015 rolled around, just her quality of life really got bad. And she was basically, I guess she bought into the narrative of I can eat what I want as long as I just take the insulin, take enough insulin to cover it.
Mm.
And I saw the quality of her life and I knew I didn't want that for myself and I wanted to prevent it. So I started doing dietary research. And of course, initially, a bunch of stuff about being vegetarian and vegan came up. And I couldn't do that. All those raw vegetables for one thing, and then just chicken. I couldn't do it. I mean, couldn't do it. So, but as I got to doing more research, I discovered low carb, and I sort of was familiar with low carb, and I can get into that story, later. But so I started low carb, and then I just gradually, just as I did more research, I got into keto. And then in December of last year, I stumbled into Carnivore. And the way that happened is I have a neighbor who works for a food supply company, and he brought me these boxes of burger patties and bacon. And I mean, it was like right after Christmas, he brought me all this stuff. And I just started eating off it. So it wasn't an intentional decision like, oh, I'm just going to eat only meat. It's just what I happened to have.
Mhm.
And so I just was eating it. And then maybe 2 or 3 weeks later, it was early in January of this year, I was just scrolling through YouTube and saw these videos about carnivore. And I just happened to click on one and it was talking about people just eating nothing but meat. And I'm like, wow, come to think of it, I've only been eating meat for like, several weeks now. And so I guess I'm a carnivore. So it just kind of happened that way. It wasn't
Yeah.
an intentional decision to where I was just, no, vegetables are toxic and all that. It wasn't anything like that. So that's how I got into this space. And the thing that really affected me, though, is the fact that, and I don't know exactly when I noticed it, but I just remember having this awareness that my anxiety was gone. Like I wasn't nervous about work related things like I normally would be. I wasn't stressed when things, and believe me, oh gosh, especially lately, I've had some very challenging things happen in life, and we all do. Those things, while they were certainly not pleasant, they didn't just push me over the edge, or they didn't make me fret. They didn't make me worry. And I've had anxiety issues since I was 20. Some just out of the blue, I woke up one morning and it actually, well, I felt tense that morning, but it was weird because I went to work and my job was it wasn't a bad job. It wasn't a great job, but it wasn't a bad one. And I don't know what happened. I started like I couldn't breathe. I felt like I was freaking out. I felt like out of control. It was very disconcerting, and I didn't tell anybody. I just suffered with it. And I've had that off and on all of my adult life. I mean, sometimes it would wane and I wouldn't have it at all for a while, but then it would just pop back and there didn't seem to be any rhyme or reason. It's like my circumstances were just the same as they were the day before. So why is this happening? And now I'm wondering if maybe some of the things that I ate could have triggered some of that. I don't know for sure. It got a lot better with low carb, but now that I've been carnivore, I haven't had an anxiety attack or panic attack in gosh, probably a year now. I mean, pretty close. No.
Any excuse to use a soundboard.
That's right. Go for it, man. Just push those buttons.
Okay.
Yeah. And we'll have to have a poop talk at some point, probably. I mean, that's what you got to do. So that's my story in a nutshell. And then if anybody wants details or you want to get into something else, just ask and I'll tell you.
I want to get into something else.
Okay.
You have an accent.
Yes.
Where are you from?
I'm from outside of Nashville, Tennessee.
Oh, okay. I've driven through Tennessee, driving home. So when I was stationed at Goodfellow for 7 years, I like to call it Badfellow in Texas. I had to drive through Tennessee. I stopped, so I guess that counts as I've been to Tennessee because I actually got out and ate food there. But yeah, I do want to go to Tennessee and explore a little bit. I heard it's
you'd
nice.
love it.
Yeah. I have a girlfriend from the military who actually just moved there. I forget where she's from, but she took pictures of her outback. There's just so much land. Yeah, it looks beautiful.
It is. I live outside of Nashville, so I live in a subdivision in a townhouse. My dream is to live in the country, and I don't know if that'll happen or not. I've just decided I'm going to be happy where I am, though, and that's kind of like where my morning walks come into play, for example, and I speak to my neighbors. Because one of the things that appeals to me about like the smaller towns and stuff is that people know each other. And I guess people who live in that situation would be annoyed by it. I think personally that it would be pretty cool to have that kind of a relationship. So it's all depending on your perspective.
Yeah.
So I just have decided that I'm going to, grow where I'm planted. And so I've started talking to my neighbors more and, taking walks and appreciating the beauty around me. And just if by chance I end up in the country, then that'll be great.
Yeah. I'm from the Northeast, so we don't talk to our neighbors. If you try to talk to your neighbors, it's a hit or miss if they talk back. It's just a different.
We can tell when those people move down here because
right?
They don't talk to people. They look at you funny, like when you speak to them. Like if you're just like in the grocery store or something, and you both happen to reach for the same thing or something. And you're like, oh, excuse me, it's just been a wild day today. I wasn't paying attention to what I was doing or just something. And they look at you like, what? Like, why are you talking to me? I don't know you.
Well, what do you want?
Yeah.
Well, we do have requests. So Do I have poop stories? Anyone else? So yeah, drop some poop stories in the chat. Apparently, we have some people who like talking
Oh,
shit.
great.
Well,
Yes,
I'm
yes.
I'm
Oh,
down. So for those of you who don't know me and who are new to Coach Nicole, I am Coach Nicole. I am a nutrition specialist, specializing in emotional eating psychology specifically. And I do own a coaching business. But yeah, I stumbled across. I've always known about low carb. I don't like to label myself keto, ketovore, carnivore. I just say low carb, but I'm typically, for the most part, less than 20 grams. But I still say low carb because there are times where I may go a little bit higher than others. But yeah, so I've always known about it. But in my formal nutrition training, we were told that, keto is our emergency backup system. It's not good long term. It taxes our organs, specifically their liver, and so on and so forth. So they did the scare tactic. And then saturated fat, cholesterol is important, but limit those things, lean and green. So that's what I was taught, similar to registered dietitians, right? They're taught primarily a plant based. I was taught lean and green. So lean chicken breast, ground turkey, no beef, no steak, limit those things. So I was vegan for 4 years. I gained more weight. So to make a long story short, at my heaviest, at 5 feet short, I was about 200 pounds. I had sleep apnea, high blood pressure, chronic inflammation, anxiety, depression, all the things. I was a mess. um, but yeah, I stumbled across, I think, Bart K's video first, and I binge watched his entire channel, and then I watched Nutrition with Judy because I resonate with them because we're in the same space, and I learned a lot. And then of course Ken Berry. So the beginning of this year, I was like, well, let me give this a shot. Nothing else is working. I feel like crap. I did plant based, and that didn't do anything. I didn't feel any better. So why not, right? So I was like, let me just do this for 30 days. And I stopped counting, but I'm at least 6, 7 months in. So I guess the 30 days continued. But yeah, I got rid of all my issues. I've had multiple knee surgeries on my one knee, major reconstructive. They saved my kneecap, but I was close on needing a partial replacement. The doctor said that I would never be able to function like a normal human being again. I would eventually need a knee replacement and blah, blah, blah. I can now go up and down the stairs with no pain. I can sit like this and talk on YouTube without any discomfort because before it would get stiff and uncomfortable. So yeah, I'm pain free, anxiety free, no more sleep apnea. I was never undiagnosed. My husband just sleeps in the same room now, so I assume I don't snore, so I don't use the machine. But yeah, so I've been about 7 months, and I now promote low carb with my clients. I switched a bunch of my clients who've been working with me since last year to low carb. So they kind of went with me, but of course they had questions like why the change? Why I was pushing fruits and veggies and grains and all that stuff that we're taught. So of course they asked questions like why the change and blah 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 blah. But they understood, but now I'm actually making a difference. They're not only losing weight, but we're reversing diabetes and all those things that I got into doing this in the first place. But yeah, so I'm essentially going against my formal training for the most part. And yeah, I started my channel to try to get more nutrition professionals to kind of jump ship and see the light.
yeah. And I really hope that as we get the word out, and I say I'm carnivore. I mean, I do eat primarily meat. I rarely eat, well, I mean, I haven't had vegetables now in several months,
Yeah.
but that's not to say I won't ever. It's just, I think though that when you do an elimination diet like that, you really do see how things affect you.
Yeah.
Uh, I never would have dreamed it because, to be honest, I wasn't eating very many vegetables when I stumbled into carnivore. Like I said, fresh vegetables, raw vegetables would just tear my stomach up. I mean, I didn't mind eating salad on occasion. It's just that it just totally would make me bloat and gassy. Gassy is related to poop, right?
I got
Yes, just like that.
yeah.
The good old vegan poots.
Yeah,
Yes.
I slowly reintroduce things back. So I was never a vegetable person to begin with. I did like my fruit. I was I'm a recovering sugar addict, I like to say, binge eating tendencies. I didn't have an off switch. So all things sweet. So of course I gravitated to the grapes, the banana, and all that
Mhm.
stuff when it comes to fruit. Of course, all the sugar. I'm toying with trying a banana to see how it affects me. I'm not sure if I want to try or not. But primarily I stick with strawberries and blueberries are my
Mhm.
fruit. I just stick to the berries. I do have avocado every once in a while. I haven't had any this week, but usually it's like a once or twice a week thing. But yeah, every once in a while I'll do an avocado. I do the berries. I just in the last month or two reintroduced cashews, so I'll do a serving of cashews. Um, but yeah, I'm not sure what else I want to introduce, but I'm pretty much happy with what I
Mhm.
have right now. Every once in a while I'll do like green beans. I haven't done them in months, but if I do a vegetable, it's usually just like French cut green beans because those don't bother me. But I used to do the sweet corn, right? All the sweet. So I used to do the sweet vegetables, the sweet fruit and all that. So
Mhm.
yeah, so I'm not opposed. I'll have asparagus every once in a blue moon, but yeah, it's very few and far between. My I guess my daily carb consumption is primarily berries. I would do that more so than anything else or just the berries. Are you interested in reintroducing things at all, or are you pretty happy where you are?
Oh, well, I did reintroduce, which it's not a fruit or vegetable, but I had eliminated dairy for a while, and
Okay.
it wasn't intentional. I mean, this is it. I forgot to buy any of my full fat Greek yogurt, and I didn't buy any cheese either. So I just decided, oh, well, okay, I'll just not eat that for a
Yeah.
while. So it stumbled into that. And I went for, I don't know, a couple or 3 months, I guess, without dairy. And I have reintroduced my full fat Greek yogurt. Now, the first time
Okay.
I tried to reintroduce it, I had already eaten, well, what would be considered a lot for me. I'd had several pieces of bacon, like 3 burger patties, and some sardines. I had already eaten a lot, and then I kind of felt like I had this. Yeah, where's the barf button?
I have to record it. I
Oh,
think
you need to do
I
that.
think it's better if I do it live. Like whenever someone says sardines, bleh,
Blech.
bleh.
Yeah, so then I ate. I was like, yeah, I'm in the mood for something else. And I thought, oh, Cassandra, my daughter, brought over some because she knew I liked this particular, it's Cabot's brand, full fat Greek yogurt.
I've heard of them, yeah.
Yeah, it's so good. But I ate too much of it, I think, at one time, and I felt queasy afterward. But you can imagine all that stuff in my stomach at the same time, especially swimming around with the sardines
Bleh.
and hot sauce.
You did that
So
on purpose.
so that was so I did post a video saying I'm not going to eat that again, but I think what I should have said was I'm not going to eat that combination again.
Yeah.
And so about 3 weeks later, I decided to try the full fat Greek yogurt again, and this time in smaller quantities and not when I've eaten so much other stuff before. And I have not had a problem with it. I don't know. I'm sort of afraid to upset the apple cart. It's like I'm in the zone now. I've got the trifecta. I've got my meditation, I've got my diet, I've got my walks and exercise every day, and no anxiety. I'm just in the zone, and I'm afraid of just if trying to add something else in. But I may like
Yeah.
avocado, for example. I could probably add that back in. I love avocado. I'm with
Yeah.
you there.
You can
Oh
have
yeah.
Rick, I'm sure he's gonna comment. He has a lot of avocados at his house in Florida. He'll be more than happy to ship them.
Yeah, he can ship some over here.
Yeah, I mean, people don't have to reintroduce me. I just never intended to be zero forever, so I was just toying to see what works and what doesn't work. I started with
Mhm.
pineapple. I was like, "Nope. That doesn't work. Peanuts don't work." That is terrible. I ate too many peanuts
Oh,
earlier this week actually, and no, nope. I almost fasted like 24 hours the next day. That would have been like my longest
oh.
fast ever because my stomach was just like jacked. But yeah, I'm
What'd you
noticing
do?
I don't know. Well, cashews don't bother me. I haven't tried
Uh-huh.
almonds yet, so I was like and my husband bought, peanuts. I was like, "Well, let me try some peanuts." And yeah, I had like, 2 handfuls and no, that was not
Mm.
pleasant. So peanuts are out. So, like, I'm just in the trial stage right now to see what works and
Yeah.
what doesn't. But right now I'm good because when I'm doing works, I know it works. So I'm kind of like you. I'm like, I don't want to mess with my digestion anymore right now. So I'm just gonna keep it where it is and maybe we'll
Mhm.
reassess further down the line.
I wouldn't mind introducing almonds possibly at some point. I used to like to get the salted almonds,
Okay.
but I just don't know if I'm gonna do that. We'll just wait and see what happens.
Yeah. Well, Chad says peanuts are legumes. I know I call them nuts because it's peanuts and nuts, but yes, it's technically a legume.
Yeah.
Someone yelled at me in the comment section because I called it a nut. but but yeah, they are
They're in the
high.
meat group now.
Well, they're high in lectins and all that stuff. It's yeah, they have a lot of junk in them.
Yeah.
And yeah, that I guess I'm sensitive. I didn't realize I was sensitive because I did eat trail mix and all that stuff before and they didn't bother me, but then again, I always felt like I felt, but now I notice when things bother me and yeah, I guess I'm one of those people who are sensitive to lectins and didn't know it until now. Um yeah, and then someone says almonds are usually roasted
Mhm.
seed oils. Yeah, I haven't reintroduced um almonds yet. I used to love almonds though. But yeah, I haven't reintroduced them yet. But there was a comment I want to bring up on the screen from Christine. She said I recently changed medical providers to one closer to me. Went there for the first time yesterday and noticed they had something up on the screen promoting keto. Woo!
Wow. Huzzah!
Wow. Like so I have a new client that started with me last week. She's 72 and she went to her doctor before we started working together. So we had our phone call earlier this week and I gave her carb range, her protein range and all that stuff to kind of get her to eat more protein and whatever. She was very carb heavy like most people. And her doctor gave her the same range as I gave her. I was like, "Is your doctor low carb?" And she's like, "Yeah, as soon as we were talking, the first thing out of my doctor's mouth was, 'Let's lower your carbs.'" I was like, "There's hope."
There is hope. And I don't know if you saw the video that I had put out about my brother, but he has started eating low carb. Now he hasn't completely eliminated vegetables, but he has eliminated seed oils and bread, the really bad stuff. And he will have vegetables on occasion.
Yeah.
And he had gone to the doctor and he had mentioned that he had been eating low carb and was thinking about going carnivore or, like just meat only. And his doctor said to him, well, there's a diet that's even stricter than that, and it's called Lion.
Oh,
And
yeah.
so when my brother told me that though, I was like, so your doctor doesn't mind that you're doing low carb? He says, no, he said he's heard good things about it. And I was like, there is hope.
Yeah.
There
I
is
was I
hope.
always say if your doctor has a problem, just tell him that you're Mediterranean, even though it's the same thing. Uh, but
Right?
Chad has a question for you, Carrie. Did you ever like macadamia nuts? I did I loved
Yeah.
their especially the Hawaiian macadamia nuts.
I did. I never ate them that much for some reason. One thing that I ate quite a bit when I was, or I'm not going to say quite a bit, but I mean, one thing that I would eat when I was doing like low carb and keto is pistachios. I know you have to limit your intake of them because they can be carby, but
Yeah.
that was one nut that I ate quite a bit of.
Yeah, he says the reason I say that is from what I understand, macadamia nuts are about 10 times less oxalate than
Oh,
almonds. Yeah. They didn't really bother me that I
hmm.
noticed. Cashews don't bother me right now. I haven't tried anything else. Peanuts are out, but yeah, I haven't tried anything else. Macadamia nuts, I might give a shot because I used to actually really like
Hmm.
them, and I would be
I
interested to
like them
see.
too.
Yeah, maybe I'll reintroduce them this weekend. Thanks, Chad. I'll go to the
Yeah,
store.
good idea.
Yeah, why not?
Good looking out.
Why not?
Yeah.
Thanks, Chad. If I wind up sick, I'm gonna call you, by the way, Chad.
It's just gonna go bleh.
Yeah, pistachio are also about 10 times less than almonds, and pistachios and mac nuts, McNuts, um, were the only
Nuts.
2 I ate in keto. It's like they're made in McDonald's McNuts.
Yep,
Um,
McNuts.
yeah, but if you guys have any questions, drop them in the chat. So I guess my question for you is, why did you start your YouTube channel, and what is your goal for your channel?
Man, I want to tell people that they don't have to live with debilitating anxiety and panic attacks. I thought that, and like I said, wow, those things had improved a lot after I went low carb and even keto. I still had them on occasion, and I haven't. I never would have dreamed of doing an interview like I'm doing tonight. I never would have dreamed of starting a channel. I just have noticed that I'm so much calmer, like I said, dealing with work situations. And sometimes we have to produce information under pressure, like they want it yesterday. And it's for very important legislative reasons.
Yeah.
So those situations used to really get to me. And there again, it's not that those situations are pleasant, but they are just so much easier. I'm calmer and can deal with them more. And I want the world to know, yes, you can get rid of anxiety. And also, I wanted to share with people too, just my N=1 experiments when it comes to my body weight, because there are some people out there like me. And I've always felt like an oddball. When I was a teenager in the 1980s, my brother and I both, we were skinnier than, we were just very, very slim, tall and slim. So we would pool our money to get Weider protein powder, and we would lift weights. And we were just trying so hard to just develop some muscle, some kind of form, some kind of shape. And it didn't do a dadgum bit of good,
Yeah.
but we tried, we really tried. We get a knee for effort, right? But I'm trying all these different things now to like body weight exercises, and I'm getting ready to order some of those nested dumbbells and just really focus more on trying to build up some muscle and put the results of my N=1 experiments out there. And so that maybe if something works for me, maybe it'll help somebody else. And if at the very least, perhaps we can just commiserate. If nothing else, even if nothing works, we can at least vent to each other or whatever, but just to be a support and to get the word out, especially about the anxiety, because that is just the key right there.
Yeah.
I was not diabetic or anything before I started low carb. This was a preemptive strike because I didn't want to end up that way.
Yeah.
And so my metabolic health is fantastic, but my LDL is 272.
Oh, yeah, I was never diagnosed with diabetes. I would not be surprised if I had at least pre-diabetes or was I had to have had at least pre-diabetes. I was like 85 pounds overweight. I was sleep apnea, like high cholesterol or blood pressure. I was never diagnosed with high cholesterol or anything, but like I had to have. If I didn't, I would be shocked. But yeah, when it comes to cholesterol, I don't know. I send my clients Dr. Berry's video, and I listen to like Paul Saladino's kind of like friendly chat with a cardiologist, and I know Ken Berry talked to a cardiologist, so I watch both of those chats, and
Yeah.
I understand their stance on that, but I feel like nothing is really definitive. So I'm kind of like in between on how confident I feel about cholesterol. Like I don't want to guide my clients when it comes to their cholesterol like down the wrong path because Dr. Ken
Right.
Berry said X, Y, and Z. So it's just very difficult weeding through and trying to figure things out. I do believe that cholesterol LDL is likely an innocent bystander that's getting wrapped up in the ignition of the fire, right? The actual
Mhm.
spark, kind of like the firefighters are associated with the fire, but they didn't light the fire. I feel that's kind of similar to LDL. That's kind of like my stance, but I'm not confident enough to to give my opinion opposite of my client's doctor. Does that kind of make
Oh,
sense?
that definitely
Yeah.
makes sense, and to be honest, we've had it beaten into our heads for so long that high LDL is bad, and when mine started creeping up, I mean, it's been elevated since 2015, and the last time I had it measured a year ago at my physical, and it was 220, and I imagined that when they read the lab results this time, the doctor probably had a cow.
Moo.
Moo,
Pun intended.
yes, oh yeah, he, but he doesn't nag me about statins. So I've done a lot of research and reading just like you, and I've gotten into like Dave Feldman's stuff and the own your labs and all
Yeah.
of that because I really I believe that I am a lean mass hyper responder. My triglycerides are low, my HDL is high,
Yeah.
and then and my fasting insulin is 3.8, which I was like, huzzah, 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 huzzah.
Yeah.
So I know that I'm not diabetic or and so I'm not worried about that. My metabolic health is good, but it's
Yeah.
just, and I understand as well that if you're diabetic, your increase in risk of developing heart disease and all that is so much more
Yeah.
than related to the LDL.
That's what Ken Berry's I forget Dr. Ovadia. I
Yes.
always forget his name. And
Yes.
then Paul Saladino was talking to a cardiologist, and I believe Ovadia and Saladino had the same hypothesis or theory, I guess it would be, that insulin is the spark.
Hmm.
And LDL is just getting wrapped up into it because it's present and it's sticky. So yeah, when you mentioned that about diabetes and all that, that's kind of like the working theory that I've heard is that insulin is the spark, kind of like the fire that the firefighters are putting out, or like we probably
Yeah.
a gas leak or a gas stove or whatever, and they're just present and whatever. But yeah, that's the working theory that I've heard is that it's insulin.
And Dr. Bickman
Yeah.
is an excellent one. Oh,
Yeah.
the way he explains it, he knows his stuff, but he explains it in ways that you can understand and
Yep.
relate to.
That's why I binge
So,
watched Barkay's channel. I
mhm.
don't believe 100% of what everyone says. I just take
No.
the information and just do my own research. But I do want to address Rick. Why does Nicole's background look like a cartoon? Because it is, Rick. It's from Futurama. Woo! It's from it's from Futurama, which my husband introduced me to when we first got together. It's a pretty funny cartoon.
It
Um,
is.
and thank you, Sana. She's out
Hey.
with family, but she's for here for support. I appreciate you. Let's see if there's any questions or anyone else in the chat that we did not address. Oh, what's up, Lucia? Long time no see. How have you
Hey.
been? How have you been?
Bought an Oxaline.
Oh, what's up, Matthew? What's up? What's up?
Hey, hey.
Yeah, we're gonna
We got the usual suspects in here tonight.
you know, Susie, my girl Susie's here. Yeah, we got
Mhm.
we got a we got a good amount of people in the chat. Michael Johnson, what's up, Michael? Evidence food, as Dr. Barry says.
I
Yeah, I'm
think
not sure what that's
there's
referenced
a
to.
conversation about going on, and I'm not sure. I'm kind of lost,
Yeah,
but
I just wanted to say hi to him. I didn't see his first post where he actually said hi, so I just grabbed the first one. Um, Mike says Futurama. What about Dragon Ball Z background? Ooh, I'm definitely getting one for myself. A Dragon Ball Z background? Huh.
cool. That would be cool.
Okay.
Yeah, why
So
not?
so What questions do you have for me, Carrie? What do you want to talk about? What are you thinking?
What am I thinking? Well, and you have given me some advice, and I am taking the advice. But if there
Oh,
were
Coach's
some,
Corner.
yes, if someone were to be in the position that I'm in, where they were very lean to begin with and lost too much weight on low carb or whichever form of the proper human diet that they're on, what are some things that the person could try to do to maybe, put on some healthy weight? We're not talking fat. I'm not talking about carbing up, but what are some things that somebody could try? What could they do?
Yeah, it's tricky when you're talking weight gain because you can't say I want to put on weight and have it all be muscle, right? I mean, some of it is going to be fat. That's just how it works.
Or carby
Um,
weight, I
you
guess. Yeah.
can't just yeah, you can't just gain muscle and that's it. But yeah, I had this conversation with someone yesterday who was plateaued. She was gaining weight, and I gained weight at first too. When I transitioned, so yeah, losing too much weight is common just because the food is so satiating and it's so easy to feel full when you don't eat a large portions, especially if you're not used to consuming that much meat. Um, but the if you want to put on weight outside of exercise, you're going to have to increase your portions. Try to stick to like a 1-to-1 ratio if possible between fat and protein.
Hmm.
But yeah, you're going to have to increase your portions. What I did was so I was opposite. I was trying to get my weight loss back. I was trying to, because I'm not at my goal yet. I'm almost there, but I had 85 pounds to lose, so a long way to go. But what I did is I added things like ghee, to up more fat. I add a lot of butter. I do have avocado that helps. So if I get like flavor fatigue from all the meat, then that's when I'll do the avocado just to
Mm.
give me assistance. Um, so if you don't want to introduce avocado, I mean tallow, bacon grease, and stuff like that you're probably already doing is an easy way to go about it. But if you're eating eggs, if you're having like 7 eggs, maybe slowly increase it. Maybe do 8 eggs. If you're doing like
Mm.
3 burger patties, maybe do 3.5, and just do little things like that. So you're not like gorging yourself and like feel like you're going to vomit. But the only way it's a mass in, mass out, it's a mass equation. So if you want to put on weight and you want it to be good quality weight, you're going to have to
Mhm.
increase your fat and protein and you're going to have to increase your portions. So I would just do little changes, like add 1 more egg, add half
Mm.
of a burger patty and things like that, and just see how you feel and see how that goes. But you don't wanna do drastic increases, like go from 3 to 4 or 7 to 10 and stuff like that.
Mhm.
It won't be bad, but you don't wanna be too drastic. You wanna gradually increase, because you wanna get used to digesting all that food too, and you wanna get used to eating that much food. So I would just make little adjustments, increasing until you start slowly gaining and you get where you want to be and you feel good and not sluggish.
Mm. Excellent advice. Excellent. And I've also been writing down what I eat too, like you had mentioned.
How's that going?
So it's going. I'm pretty consistent, I'll tell you. So I need to really make the concerted effort to just increase, like you said, like a half a burger patty or one extra egg or something like that, just even if it's just that much. But I have also increased the amount of the full fat Greek yogurt that I'm eating
There you
too.
go. Yeah.
So that's another thing because at the time that I had lost all of that weight, I wasn't eating any dairy. So, and so far, like I said, the full fat Greek yogurt has not affected me. I don't feel any anxiety or
Yeah.
any different. It's not like I feel sluggish or bad or inflamed or anything like that. So I think that this is a good track to try, but I'm going to definitely seriously, I eat like about four on average, about 4 burger patties a day. I eat, and I will have to just like tally it up. But I mean, I'm talking on average. I'll have maybe 4 eggs and like 4 to 6 pieces of bacon, and then I'll
In a
have
day?
in a day, yeah. And then I'll have like a tin of sardines with hot sauce. And then once a week, I have my cod liver with tons of hot sauce.
And you're not gaining weight?
I don't know. Well, last week, last Wednesday, and I've only been like tracking, and I've only been eating the additional, like I've gradually increased the amount of the full fat Greek yogurt. So I weighed in at 110 at my doctor's office a week ago Wednesday. So I don't have a scale. I really can't tell if I feel like my pants feel like they're just a little bit tighter. So but I don't know. These are my favorite jeans that I'm
Yeah.
wearing. And so I can generally tell if, like, I knew when they got loose that I had lost like a lot of weight. I just didn't know how much until I went to the doctor's office. And last year, I had weighed 133 when
Oh,
I had
that's a
my
healthy
visit.
range, yeah.
And then I went down to 110.
Dang. Yeah, I would just do little things like that. I mean, it sounds like you're eating a good amount, but yeah, I would see if you can like take measurements, maybe take a measuring tape so you can track your progress so you don't go like overboard and go too far. But yeah, logging your food's good as long as you see like a pattern, a trend, see areas where you can improve, and then you
Mhm.
need a way to track your progress if you're trying to gain weight to see where you are. But Susie says she lost too much weight on keto. I was doing OMAD and not eating enough overall. Adding in the extra fat, eating more, and getting rid of veg really helped me. Also, I started lifting weights. Yes,
Mhm.
absolutely.
Yep.
And then Mike says, I'm putting on mass on OMAD. I exercise every day. I'm gaining body fat as well, likely, but I am still fairly lean. Yeah, that's
Mhm.
awesome. Yeah, I need to
Yeah.
get back to exercising. I'm gonna try to go to the gym. I've been so like mentally like burnt out the last 2 weeks. I just haven't had the energy. But yeah, tomorrow I'm gonna force my because I'm feeling better today. So tomorrow I'm gonna force myself to go to the gym. I really need to get back to the gym. I love lifting if I work out. I prefer that over cardio. But yeah, Mike is a great inspiration when it comes to like staying on track and
Mhm.
doing the thing because he's doing the thing.
And he's consistent,
Yeah,
man.
absolutely. So Michael Johnson, your thoughts on MCT oil? Carrie, what do you think about MCT oil? Have you ever used it?
Yes, I have when I was drinking coffee. And that's one thing too. I had eliminated my coffee because I was drinking a cup, and it was just one cup. It was like a Keurig size, however many ounces that is. So it's not like I was drinking a giant cup and calling it a cup. It was like
Yeah.
a little Keurig size. But I would put a chunk of butter in there, and then I would put MCT oil in it, and then I would use a frother to mix it up. And I was having that every morning. And I stopped that not because the MCT oil really did anything to me, or the butter for that matter, except for the fact that I think that that was inhibiting my appetite some. So
Yeah.
and that's why I was really thinking, and of course I wasn't writing it all down at that point, but I was thinking that I was eating more. And of course, since I wasn't writing it down, you know, people can think they remember things, but we all have seen where, like, in court or something, you know, everybody has a different story. For example,
Yeah.
everybody sees it differently, everybody remembers it differently. So you just really, the only way you're going to know is if you either film videos and track it that way, or really just writing it down. That's
Yeah.
the smart thing to do.
Yeah. I usually recommend people who aren't, clients and who are just trying to get back on track to just log for 2 weeks because you can really start to see a pattern, um,
Hmm.
in that amount of time for sure. MCT oil, in my opinion, is not bad. If you're eating, enough fat, if you're eating enough meat, you truly don't need it. But yeah, I mean, if it's not harming you, if you have issues getting in your fat and stuff like that, I mean, it's not gonna hurt you. I don't have a problem with it, but I'm just curious, um, why you're using it. Like I said, it's not going to hurt anything, but if you're eating um predominantly animal foods, it's one of those things where you truly don't need it as long as you're getting your fat from meat. I believe that you should get things from food first, and if whatever you can't get from food, that's where the supplements come into play. That's just my mindset when it comes to supplements. But like I said, it's not going to hurt anything. But I'm just a believer: food first, and supplements if you can't, because supplements are to supplement what you can't get from food. What's up, low carb carnivore? Most days I'm always feeling like I can eat all day. Yeah, I don't know what your diet looks like. But I guess my question would be, are you eating enough? Are you eating enough fat? Are you eating too much protein? Yeah, kind of like what I suggested to Carrie. Maybe log for a few days just to see what your diet, cuz like you get used to eating a certain way and you don't really pay attention, you just eat. But if you write it down, you can actually go back and look and see what you're eating rather than guessing and all that. So I would just track what you're eating and making sure you're eating enough fat, because if you're eating too much protein, it's going to convert into glucose, right? And then it's not going to spike as much as carbs, but it will spike your blood sugar, and that could make you hungry again once your blood sugar comes back down to the normal level, depending on how much protein you're eating. That would dictate how much your blood sugar spikes. But yeah, I would just track your food and make sure you're eating enough fat in your low carb journey, depending on what variation you're doing. What are your thoughts on that, Carrie?
And that's it. That is a good point about the protein. Something I hadn't. Now, like you said, it doesn't just raise your glucose to anywhere near the level of carbs, but at the same time, you still could be going through that kind of that up and down. You're not necessarily hangry, but you feel like you could eat, and like he was saying in the comment. So that is one thing to think about, and just adding more fat. And I know that's a challenge. And sometimes when people say add more fat, and you think, well, I mean, I add butter, I add this, and I add that, but just there are ways to add more. And I'm working on finding other ways, like,
Yeah.
what is it, the bacon ends? Somebody was
Oh
saying
yeah.
those from the butcher. And so different ways to get, just to add other like pure fats in there so
Yeah.
that you're not, because fat is the satiating. I mean, protein is satiating, but the fat is what really, when you add that in other words, if you're eating just protein, like the lean chicken and stuff, I mean, how long does that stick to your ribs? Not at all. But if you're eating a ribeye or some 80 or some 70-30 ground beef, that kind of stuff, it's got a lot of fat with it. It tends to fill you up and it keeps you full longer. It does me. I can tell
Yeah.
a difference.
So, we're getting an air fryer. We have an Inchi Creamy, so as soon as this cheese thing is over, I'm making myself some protein ice cream. Uh, but yeah, like we're getting an air fryer next. We just haven't gotten it yet because we're trying to figure out what we want, because I have a crock pot, and I guess there's so many different variations, like a slow
Yes,
cooker, a grill, a air fryer, you can get all in one. So I'm like overwhelmed with options. So
me
that's why we haven't
too.
pulled the trigger yet. But if you so I have a gag reflex with the fat on, say, like a ribeye, like bleh, like as soon as it hits the back of my throat, it's instant. Like I have to pull it out of my mouth and throw it out. I cannot do it. Um,
Hmm.
but I want to fry up, and I know I can do it on a frying pan, but I'm lazy. Let's be real. But
No, I totally get it.
yeah, so like that would be an easy way too to get your fat in, is if it's a texture thing and you can't do the fat on the ribeye, like I can't, my husband can't. There's a lot of people who can't. Like for me, it's a texture thing.
Hmm.
It's like it's not on purpose gag. As soon as it hits my, yeah, I just gag.
Yeah.
Um, but maybe frying up the fatty bits will help get the fat down too. For me, it's like not flavor fatigue. Sometimes I'll get flavor fatigue. And like I said, that's where the avocado comes in. That's where
Hmm.
the cashews come in. That's where every once in a while the Greek yogurt comes in. And, I understand bioavailability. I just don't get that dogmatic about it. Like, you do absorb you do absorb nutrients from those foods. It's just not as much as animal foods. But it's not like you're not absorbing anything from those foods. You are. So those are foods I add in to help me with my fat if I'm struggling. And that's what
Mhm.
helps me to kind of like not wean on meat all that often, because for me it's just too much. I can only do so much meat at one time. So avocado comes in clutch at times, for me. But yeah, I am looking forward to getting the air fryer to fry up the fatty bits to kind of help break it up too. I heard that's good, frying up the fatty bits.
I've not tried doing that yet. I've got to talk to, and the people that had commented um, on the video that I had done were saying that you could go to like just the butcher at the grocery store. So I didn't
Yeah,
know if they were dealing with a local butcher, a small business type of butcher, just an individual shop or
yeah.
whatever, or if a grocery store butcher would do it. But they said that they went to their grocery store. So the next time I go to the grocery store, I'm going to ask them about it.
Oh, yeah, that's it. That's true, because usually they just throw that stuff away, probably. Um,
Hmm.
but Baddest Cat, thank you for joining us. I was thin all my life. Yeah, I think I remember you saying that in a previous live. I was too, and then I wasn't. I was thin all my life on standard American diet, but I felt increasingly terrible as I approached 30. I suspect I was out thin on the outside, fat on the inside. Yeah,
Hmm.
that's what a lot of people struggle with. Like, a lot of people say people look healthy because they're thin, and they'll say like marathon runners or elite runners, most of them
Hmm.
are on a Mediterranean, I don't want to say Mediterranean diet, a heavily plant-based diet.
Yeah.
They start their mornings with oatmeal, right? Because that's the health food. They
Hmm.
have the fruits are heavily plant-based. But if you actually look at elite athletes like runners,
Hmm.
they die young, and most of them die of heart issues. So I'm not saying it's because they're eating a plant. That's not what I'm saying. I'm saying, but you would look at them and say they're healthy,
Yeah,
and
you
then
would.
they die of a heart issue. So yeah, being thin really doesn't mean anything. So that's why when people a lot of times when people say like they're frustrated because they're not losing weight, but all these other areas of their health are improving, I'm like, that's so much more important. The weight will come, but
Hmm.
the key is just to get rid of the chronic inflammation and all of your issues, and then you can work on getting your weight to where it needs to be. Because yeah, that I believe that too. Like, you can't tell if someone's healthy just by looking at them. But yeah, quite a few people who were struggling putting on weight with carnivore or low carb or whatever variation
Hmm.
you're doing. I mean, I wish I had that problem. But yeah, it's just interesting because most people you talk to, they're trying to lose weight. But I have come across, like Carrie and Baddest Cat, like a couple of people who are actually the opposite end of the spectrum. It's few and far between. I just find it interesting, um, that some people struggle to put on weight and others struggle to lose weight.
And then as far as being thin on the outside and fat on the inside, there
Yeah.
are some just like cultures. For example, like you might have the Oriental cultures and like India, those folks, and they tend to stay thinner on the outside. But then when they're tested, they're pre diabetic or diabetic. They just
Yep.
don't show it.
I have skinny clients who are pre-diabetic. I'm actually working with one now, and we're close on reversing it because his glucose is finally consistently under 100, his fasting, but
Mm,
he's not fat at all. He maybe had to lose 10 pounds, but
yeah.
he's you wouldn't be able to tell that on the outside because he's not overweight, he's not obese, but he's diabetic.
And my mother was that way. She developed diabetes in her early 60s, but she was
Yeah.
pretty thin, like all while I was growing up. She wasn't as skinny as me, but she was very slender. And it, it was just once she became diabetic. Now, I think part of the reason she gained weight, like I said, was because she pretty much ate what she wanted and thought that as long as she was taking the insulin to make up for it, that it would be okay. And of course, all that extra insulin makes you gain weight. But yeah, it's the being thin, it's very deceptive.
Yes. Yes, 100%. But where are you at now, Baddest Cat, with your journey? And please remind me what your actual name is so I can be respectful and call you by your name. I'm still trying to learn everyone's names outside of their usernames. I'm getting better. I'm getting better with
I'm
that.
getting better too, but
Yeah.
sometimes I just have a brain fart and I'm just
I'm
like,
terrible with names in real life though. Like I'll be at a networking event and someone would introduce themselves to me and then they'll walk away like to talk to other people and come back to me later. And I was like, crap, what's his
like,
name?
hey, you.
I know. Hoping hoping someone will come up and be like, "Hey, how's it going?" So and so. I was like, "That's your name."
Right.
It is so bad. It's a big problem. It's bad. But Michael says, we use MCT in the morning with coffee, poor sleep with 3 little kids. Yeah. Like I said,
Woo.
it's fine. I mean, there's
Yeah.
no problem with that. I was just curious. I was just being nosy. But yeah, if it makes you feel good,
Yeah.
and you like it.
And supposedly, and I really don't know, it supposedly really boosts your HDL. I don't know how true that is, but that is a rumor in the low carb keto, ketovore, carnivore space for
Yeah,
what it's worth.
I'm not sure, I can't really speak on that. I
Yeah,
know
I can't
MCT
either.
oil in my training is what they would promote as a healthy fat, when it comes to oils, but yeah, I've never done real digging into it. I know a lot of people use it or it was one of the trends to use MCT for, like, weight loss and all that. That was one
Mhm.
of the fads.
Bulletproof coffee.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So we got a question. I gave up dairy for September to see what would happen. So far, no change. I was hoping it would decrease the amount of phlegm, in my throat. But it seems more since I quit dairy. Interesting. Do you have
Mhm.
any thoughts on this, Carrie, or experience with this?
Actually, I do get kind of phlegmy myself, and I haven't quite figured out what on God's green earth could be causing it. I don't know. And eliminating dairy. Now, I can't say that I have more phlegm than I did. It just stayed the same like after I eliminated the dairy. So I don't know. Possibly I'm allergic to my cat and just never knew it. Don't know. Uh,
See, my cat's like right here, so if my arm kind of disappears, it's my cat. I'm petting my cat. Um, so I had this problem actually with phlegm,
mhm.
and sinuses. So I still have a little bit of phlegm
Yes.
now because I had a little bit of dark chocolate earlier for my after dinner treat. I guess I'm OMAD. I don't know if I can call it dinner, but whatever you want to call it. I had a little bit of dark chocolate, and that is one of the culprits for phlegm. But since I gave up dairy for this month, I have noticed that my sinuses are clear. Like I don't have the sniffles. It was bad. And then my phlegm buildup was really bad. So I have a little bit now because of the little bit of dark chocolate I had. But yeah, um, dairy is one of the culprits for that. This might not make a lot of people happy. but high histamine foods, I know we're not eating processed foods here, so I'm not gonna mention that, but chocolate, hence me,
Mhm.
coffee, alcohol, if you're having carbonated beverages, and stuff like that, that can cause or even tea, um, salmon, broth-based soups in some people. So this isn't like to say everyone who eats these foods are going to get phlegm. It just depends on how sensitive you are to those foods. But those are just a few just off the bat that can be the culprit. So if you're drinking coffee, maybe lower the amount you're drinking and see if that's the culprit. If you're not able to eliminate it, most people are still coffee drinkers, but that can cause it. But yeah, I would do just a quick consult Dr. Google, and just do like foods that cause phlegm. And I'm pretty sure there's a comprehensive list on there and just see if you're eating any of those foods and just trial and error. For me, dairy seems to be the culprit, and now dark chocolate seems to affect me just ever so slightly. I didn't eat a lot though, so it's not bad. But yeah, I don't know if I can give up my dark chocolate though. That's like my one my one vice. The one thing I have to look forward to at the end of the night is a little bit of dark chocolate, but that is one of the culprits that could cause phlegm. Susie says, my husband is like that too. He can't stand the texture of fat on steak. Blech. He just gives that to me to eat. I can't even give it to
Aw.
my husband or my cat. None of them will eat it. It's so gross. I try to offer him the fatty bits, and he essentially like, get that plate out of here. And then Mike says, depends on what kind of runners. Many long distance runners are tofu. What's tofu? Let me look that
Thin
up.
on the outside, fat on the inside.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, that's what I was saying. That's what I was saying. A lot of them look healthy, and then a lot of them die of heart issues. Like most of them who pass away, from what I understand, are from heart issues. But yeah, and they look completely healthy on the outside.
Mm-hmm.
For sure. Christine says, I was given strips of fat instead of a teething ring when I was a baby. Oh, that is
Oh,
awesome. What? I was given the Gerber baby nonsense. Oh, I went to a baby shower a few years ago. Pre thing, of course, id. I don't want to get demonetized. But pre-id. And they had a baby food eating contest, and I'm the life of the party if you can't tell, so they automatically invited me, like nominated me to play. That stuff is nasty. And I'm like, you are feeding your babies this baby food, this Gerber food. I spit it all out except for like the peas. It was so gross.
or the peaches,
I don't
Yeah,
know if
you
we
would
had
eat.
the peach because we were all blindfold. We had to like it was like a taste like you had to tell what taste it was.
Oh
It
my
all
God.
tasted nasty. I spit every single thing out and I had no idea. But yeah, that's what I was fed, the Gerber baby food. So the fact you were fed fat, oh, I'm jealous.
Yeah, that's great.
What's up, JP? In the army, I could run like the breeze. Now I just wheeze.
They call me the wheeze because I keep.
The last time when I still did CrossFit, the one of the last classes, JP and his emojis. The last one of the last CrossFit classes I did before I left because I injured my lower back. We had to do like a 400-meter run, or 800-meter run, which was like 4 laps around their building. This 70-something-year-old man lapped me. I was like, this is not a good sign. This is not a good sign. Oh, yeah, that was not good. All right, let me try to catch up here. See if there's any questions. My name's John. Thank you. Thank you, John. 33 now, and will have been carnivore for 12 months as of Sunday. Congratulations.
Whoa.
Awesome. Wait. Yay. No, that's awesome. 33. You're such a baby. Feeling much
Yes.
better these days. That is awesome. Now, do you
And your
plan to I'm
future
curious.
self will love you.
What's that?
His future self will love him
Oh,
for
yeah.
doing this at such a young age. I mean, gosh, 33 is young.
Yeah. I
You're
tell
you're
you.
you're just approaching your prime, You still got a long ways to go.
Well, John, do you plan to stay carnivore, like zero carb, or do you at some point want to reintroduce things back? I'm curious. I'm more so just being nosy because I'm nosy in real life.
Nothing wrong with that.
Sean says, just got parked for the night. Where are you at, Sean? Where are you at tonight?
You know what's terrible? When I first read that post, I thought he said he just got porked. Like, what?
Oh, man.
Oh my gosh. I'm not sure what kind of a Freudian slip that was. Maybe I don't want to know.
He was having so we were talking, my cravings were through the roof today. Sean was like my sounding board, because I don't want to put him on blast on what he was craving, but I've been so stressed the last couple of weeks, like I said.
Mhm.
And today, just for whatever reason, I'm just like, man, I can go for pizza like randomly. And whenever I have pizza, it just does not feel good at all.
No.
So yeah, so I'm like, I can go for some pizza. And then I was like, "Oh, Chick-fil-A sounds good. The chicken strips and the mac and cheese." I'm like, but it's all the way over there and I would have to leave my house and I'm lazy today. But yeah, my cravings were through the freaking roof today. And if it weren't for me being, thank God I was lazy today. I actually was busy with work, but yeah, the fact that I didn't want to leave my house is what saved me from getting Chick-fil-A because yeah, my cravings were through the roof, but I just had ground beef, eggs, and a little bit of the Walden Farms, like the sugar-free syrup to break up the
Mhm.
savory. But yeah, my cravings were on point today. Have you had cravings like that, Carrie?
I have on occasion wanted mashed potatoes. Like,
Oh,
for example, on my birthday, now they weren't mashed potatoes, but I did not have a cake or anything sweet, but I
yeah.
did have some hash browns. Isn't that fun? I went to a restaurant where you could get breakfast all day. It's a
Ooh,
local place here. And so I did have my bacon and eggs, lots of bacon and eggs, but I had also ordered an order of hash browns, and that was my, I just wanted them. I mean, they
yeah.
looked, somebody had some, another table, and I happened to see them.
Did it bother
And
you?
no, they didn't. I did not test my blood sugar afterward. That's just the only thing. They
Oh,
didn't do
it was
anything.
probably through the roof. You don't have to
Yeah,
test. I'll tell you. You're
yeah.
it was high.
Yeah, especially since I wasn't a because my birthday is in March, and so I had been basically like zero carb for like three and a half, well, a little over 3 months at that point.
Yeah.
So I'm sure that I was, and I mean, I was basically low keto or ketovore before that because I
Yeah.
ate so few vegetables. Oh yeah, I ate a pile of hash browns on my birthday,
I can't do a
and let's
pile. I'll pick
see,
like 2 or 3 fries off my husband's plate every once in a while, and that's pretty much all I can do. Because I know if I do
mhm,
more than that, I will not be feeling good, so, like, I'll just
yeah,
pick, like, 2 or 3 fries tops off his plate. I'm like, "Alright, I'm good." I got it out of my system, I'm good, and I don't feel like crap, but I have that off switch now, whereas before I did not have that off switch. I would
mhm,
have binge eating tendencies, I would have so now I have food freedom, and it took me years to get here to where I can like do something and be good. I can have whatever I want and be good. I just choose not to. But yeah, I would
yeah.
every once in a while I'll pick 2 or 3 of his fries off his plate if I have like an inkling. But thankfully I'm able to stop now or else I wouldn't do it. But thankfully I got to the point where I do have the off switch because I didn't have one before.
And so that's what your program helps people to do then is to have food freedom. So it gives them steps and guidance toward developing that to where
Yeah,
like
so
if
it's
they have something special or whatever, that it doesn't just totally derail them.
yeah,
Is that what that is?
I believe, people I believe carnivore, like zero carb, the elimination diet is good to like heal, but I believe that you don't have to stay zero carb. I believe if you're coming from a place like me or worse, where you did have binge eating tendencies, you didn't have that off switch, you did have a form of, sugar addiction, that you don't have to abstain forever. You really can find food freedom if that's what you want. So that's
Mhm,
what this program is to show people that you don't have to have this internal struggle. Like I don't have this internal struggle, and I know very many of my clients I work with don't have the internal struggle. I mean, I did go to therapy too, but yeah, that's the premise. Is just to help people understand emotional eating patterns and kind of help people recover with that. So it's called 12 weeks to food freedom is what the program's called, and it's like a course, group coaching, uh there's worksheets and handouts and like actual actionable items to go through the with the course. So it's not just it's they're going to get stuff out of it. But yeah, that's the ultimate goal though, is to show people that you don't have to be afraid of food. You're in
mhm.
control of food, and it's just to help people regain that control.
That sounds like a very good approach to take because I have a bit of rebel in me, maybe a lot.
Yeah.
And so if you tell me I can't do something, yeah, guess what I'm gonna do, right? Now, if it's my choice and I'm doing what I want to do, then that's one thing.
Exactly.
And of course, you have to factor in why you're doing something
Yep.
too. But overall, though, if somebody just says, well, you can't have this or you can't have that, it's just going to make me want it that much more. So
Yeah.
when you work with someone and help them work through those issues, that's a really good approach to take. And it sounds to me like a very healthy approach to take
Yeah.
in terms of mentally healthy and physically healthy.
Yep, and of course I promote low carb, but yeah,
Yeah.
like my husband has ice cream bars in the freezer. I'm not even I know they're there. I got ice earlier, but I'm not even tempted to eat them, but I can choose to eat that, an ice cream bar
Hmm.
and not wanna eat more. I just know that I have that choice and I choose not to, but yeah, that's the ultimate goal is to have that choice and not have that choice be made for you. So that's the big message that I wanna start, like, kind of promoting on my channel because I'm a firm believer in that, and I believe that, we shouldn't let food have that kind of control over us.
Hmm.
We need to take the control back. And it took me years to figure that out because, like I said, I didn't have an off switch. I mean, just last year, I didn't have an off switch.
Hmm.
Um, but yeah, it was now I regained my food freedom and I just choose not to because I feel good now and I don't wanna feel like I used
Yes,
to.
that's
Yeah.
it.
Yeah, but that's my choice. And that's pretty much where what I think the ultimate goal for everyone should be, if you're coming from a place I was at or worse, and I think everyone should regain their, power over food because food is food, why should we let food have that much control over us? It's just yeah, it's just food, you know what I mean? It's just food. You just have to work through that to get to that
Mhm.
point mentally, but yeah. Um, so Susan, thanks for asking that. I don't yeah, I get, people tell me I should talk about, um, my clients and how I work with people more often. So I'm trying to get better with that. So I appreciate you asking asking me that. Susan says I eliminated dairy and my phlegm was better. Yes, mine too. Then I got sick and I think I had a sinus infection, so my phlegm is really bad. So you said tea? Yeah. I'll have to give up my tea. Well, how was your phlegm before you got sick? You said you had a sinus infection. So did you have phlegm before the sinus infection when you gave up dairy? Or is that because you're sick? I don't know. I would hate for you to give up tea if it's because you're sick, but yeah.
Right.
But I don't know if I'm reading that right. That's just how I'm reading it.
Well, that's how I interpret it too, because she says, then I got sick and I think I had a sinus infection, so my phlegm is really bad. So I think that it sounds like Susan's recovering from the
Yeah.
sinus infection. So if that's the case, yeah, I'm with you, Nicole. I
Let me
don't think
see
she
if
would
she
need to give up.
clarified.
She said her phlegm
Oh,
was getting better.
yeah, so I wouldn't give it up just yet, especially if you're still recovering from your sinus infection. I've never had a sinus infection, but my mom gets them all the time, and she's laid out. She's a nurse, so she still has to go to work. But yeah,
Mhm.
I see what it does to her. She gets them multiple times a year. She's terrible with that stuff. But yeah, I would hold off on the black tea. Don't make yourself sad just yet. I would wait to
Yeah.
see how it plays out. But yeah, black tea or tea in general is one of the things that can cause phlegm buildup in people. I'm sorry.
And I like Scuffed Andy's chat message. I want to rock and roll all night and carny every day.
Yeah, I'm still at 8:30 PM Eastern time because I'm trying to make sure I don't miss anything. Um, okay,
Oh,
my one vice is zero sugar soda. Yeah, if that's carbonated, then the carbonation could be causing it. Um, so I have a client who was drinking Coke Zero. I was never a soda drinker. Even in my previous life, I literally just drank water. I didn't even drink juice. I was just not much of a soda or juice drinker. I just always drank water, even when I was a kid. So I do know that he drank Coke Zero, I think it was, and I suggested the flavored waters, like the seltzer and stuff like that, and that seems to be working for him. So if it's like the tasting, like the carbonation, maybe try a seltzer and see how that affects you. Because the sodas have extra junky stuff in it, whether it's zero sugar or not. So maybe try flavored water or a seltzer water or whatever. That seems to work for him. He doesn't have the phlegm problem, but that works for him to where he's not craving soda. He kind of weaned off the soda, so he doesn't drink soda anymore.
And I've heard Dr. Berry suggest that you uh, dilute the soda with
With water.
seltzer water,
Yeah.
just gradually dilute it to the point where you're not having it anymore.
Yeah, and that's the trick with, juices too. If you're trying to get your elderly parent or your loved one to be hydrated and not drink all these sugary things, you trick them and you dilute their juice with water. They'll never know.
Nope.
Sean
Blueberries and dark
says
chocolate.
blueberries and dark chocolate. Yeah, that's one of my favorite combinations too. I'm so behind. He said
Baby food.
baby food. Oh, Mike, you're such a baby. I'm 29. 30 years old on December 1st. Wow, you're so young. My birthday is Keto Palooza weekend.
All right.
Let's see. Just making sure I didn't people aren't clarifying I didn't miss any questions because we are coming up on an hour and a half. I want to be respectful of people's times because it is a work day. The thought of cheat food is better than it really is. Yeah, that is true. Especially when you feel like garbage afterwards. So far,
Yep.
I'm intending to say carnivore. I find it easy, and I also like I can still heal more. Yeah, 100%. It is so much easier. I'm primarily beef, butter, bacon, and eggs. That's truly well now ghee,
Mm.
but yeah, that's pretty much the realm that I stick in because it's easy. I don't have to think about it. It's just the same foods.
Oh, and those meat cookies, man, those are so easy. Like, I'm serious. I
It's
cooked
meat
up, let's see,
cookie.
what did I do? I cooked up like 36 burger patties last, Sunday for my, for meal prep, just so that because I know my job is getting intense. I go through these cycles with my work, and I know I'm not going to feel like cooking anything. So I like hard boiled eggs and just did
Yeah,
cooked up bacon. So I really fixed up a lot of stuff so that I wouldn't have to worry about if I didn't feel like cooking anything, then I would still have plenty of good food there to eat.
yeah. Yeah, I do
Yeah.
the same thing. Even if I work from home, I like just cook. I mean, I'm OMAD now. I was never intended to be OMAD. I just kind of landed here and it's so
Mhm.
much easier. I like it. But yeah, I just cook up like 4 burger patties. I just throw them in the oven because I top each patty with a little bit of butter. So they like
Yep.
cook in their butter juices and it adds like an extra level of flavoring. Um,
Mhm.
and yeah, I'll just batch cook a bunch of burger patties. I end up eating all 4 in one sitting. But there will be times where I'll cook up a bunch of steaks in the crock pot and beef bone broth and ghee just to let it
Mhm.
soak. Um, so I batch cook to a point too. It's harder to batch cook now that I'm Omex. I'm just eating more in one sitting. But even working from home, I still batch cook as much as I can just because it makes it easy. And like I said at the beginning of the stream, I'm lazy. That's why I use the oven and the crock pot.
I use my crock pot too.
Yeah.
I'll put like pulled pork in there, like
Ooh.
with with vinegar.
Oh, yeah.
Vinegar sauce, that I just use vinegar as my sauce. I love it like that. My son took a taste of it. He says, "Good God, what'd you do to that?" I was like, "It's got I love it like that."
I
But
don't like vinegar. My dad likes vinegar. I don't like vinegar.
yeah, see, my
Susie
dad
was
likes it. My mom didn't.
Yeah, mm-mm. Susie was craving pizza today too. Oh, Susie, we could have split a pizza. There was a party being set up in the park where I was at. Think I just upped somebody else's birthday pizza. Thought from the airwaves. That's funny.
Mhm.
I'm telling you, man. Those cravings today were like, woof. I don't want to snack on carnivore except if I start eating pork rinds. I love them. I've never tried pork rinds.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, I got a funny story about pork rinds.
Uh-oh.
Um, yeah, sometimes I can be a little clueless about things, but I used to love them. And when I was married, and when we were fairly newly married, one day I was munching on some pork rinds. I was like, God, I just love these things. And I said, what are they made of? And he looked at me and he said, pork skin. they're pork rinds. And I said, well, that's not so ridiculous. Hot dogs aren't made out of dogs. Hamburgers aren't made out of ham. So that was a good question. And I did not grow up as a country girl. Okay.
You
So,
sound like you did.
yes. And what's funny is up until I got married, I sounded like I was from the Midwest. My dad's Canadian and my mother was from Nebraska. And so they both moved to Nashville before I was born.
Yeah.
And in their household, it was a very neutral Midwestern voice, and people would ask me where I was from. And then when I got married, and his family was here since the boat came over, so I was around and his family is huge. So I developed the Southern accent real quick. So now I'm truly a Southern girl, and I have all the sayings and the isms and all that stuff.
Well, Susan said my boss has bought pizza and bagels into work in the last week. I didn't have any. That's some self-control right there.
Yep.
That's some self-control.
Well, that pizza party, we had a meeting at work, and this was about a year ago. It was before I went carnivore, but
yeah,
and I know they were trying to find something that everybody liked or whatever. So like some of the pizzas were plain, and some of them had the pineapple and ham, and some were veggie, and they had all these different, but I'm just sitting there going, oh my gosh, I can't eat any of this. What am I going to do? So I ended up, and I was just like, forget it. I don't care. And I just started scooping the toppings off and eating those. And
I think I heard you say that. That's funny.
Yeah. That's what I did.
I mean, that's what is it? Making lemons out of lemonade, making lemonade out of lemons, teach a man to fish and fish for life. Tell me a saying, Carrie. Was I close on that?
So broke, you can't pay attention. I don't know.
My husband got vinegar and salt flavored. Ugh, they're okay.
Oh, I like them.
I don't like vinegar. My husband would buy the vinegar and pepper, vinegar and something chips. Yep. Oh, they're so nasty.
I used to like those too.
John, I gotta walk down the valley of death to get my pork rinds, Cheetos, Doritos, crackers. Yeah, they're calling my name. Eat me, eat me. I just gotta block them out and be tough. Yeah, that's hard. It's like you go to CVS and you have to get like your prescriptions filled. You have to walk through the candy, the chips.
Gosh, yes.
Now they have Halloween candy out. And
one candy weakness that I have, and I never bought them very often because I know I'd sit and eat the whole bag, and that is peanut M&Ms.
Oh, me too. Yeah.
Oh yeah, I could put away some peanut M&Ms.
What was my vice? Peanut M&Ms was good. I just liked all the candy bars, like whatchamacallits, Reese's Pieces. I would eat it all. I didn't discriminate. I would show all the candy bars loving.
Yeah. It's understandable. I mean, they make them to where they're hard to resist.
Oh yeah,
and especially the snacks. Like how you could get those mixtures that had the pretzels and so it's like the sweet and the sour and the salty, all that stuff all mixed together. Oh yeah, I could eat that stuff too.
Well, they're putting like Reese's Pieces and pretzels and stuff in Reese's cups now. I was like, what is happening? Now I think they're putting potato chips in there. I was like, what is going on?
But man, that salty and that sweet together that's a combination.
I know. It's dangerous. It's because both of them can be addicting.
They sure can. So it's double trouble.
Yeah, right? So if you have any questions, last alibis, drop it in the chat. Susie says, oh my gosh, Carrie, peanut M&Ms used to be my favorite. I'm telling you. I used to go to town on some peanut M&Ms.
And boy, I'm not going to lie, I'd go through my kids' trick-or-treat bag, and if I found any peanut M&Ms in there, I took them.
Well, I used to be like, I went on this stint where I would be like addicted to Kit Kats. Like they used to have these like thick, like single Kit Kat was like a king size, like big, thick, just single Kit Kat.
Oh,
It
I
was like,
remember those. Yeah.
yeah, I used to eat like 3 of those. I used to work night shift, 7 p to 7 a back when I was still a government contractor and,
Mhm.
with the federal government. I would literally go to the vending machine and eat 2 or 3 of those during over the course of my shift, every single shift. That's what I mean when I was addicted and I didn't have an off switch, like, those bad boys.
Yep.
Yeah, I looked forward to those. It was not good.
And I used to like Almond Joys. Like I said, though, I
Yeah.
never bought snacks much, but if I did, I gorged on them. Not gonna
Yeah.
lie, I mean, I did. Like, if I bought a bag of peanut M&Ms, I ate every one of them.
Well, Low Carb Carnivore says Big Cat. That's what it was. Yes, the Big
Uh-huh.
Cat. Oh my god, that was my vice for the longest time. I don't know if they still make them, but, oh my god, I would eat those. I would look forward to those. That'll be my first stop when I got to work. That's how addicted to chocolate I was. Oh, that was so bad. So many.
That's
Oh,
what got
so
you
far
into the
gone.
office, right?
Oh, man. If you're making me work 12-hour shifts, I'm getting a Kit Kat, a Big Cat.
Yeah.
Not just 1, I wanna get 3. Dang, Michael said I used to eat a whole bag of Starburst. Oh, that would jack me up. Even back then, all that sugar. JP says IHOP
Oh,
flapjacks. You know, they put, pancake batter in their, freaking eggs now.
that's
I
what
ordered
I heard.
Yeah, my mom and I got back from a cruise in May, and we had time to kill before we had to go to the airport. My parents are in New Jersey, so obviously we went on different flights because 'cause I'm in Virginia now, but, yeah, we stopped at IHOP, and I just got bacon and eggs because I thought that was safe. I'm like, "I'll just get bacon and eggs." I was like, "This tastes so sweet," and it was messing up my stomach. I looked at the menu and read the fine print. Yeah, they put pancake batter in their eggs. I was like, "Why does this taste so sweet?" But yeah, I had
Mm,
no idea. I didn't even think to look at that. Like, why would I think to
right.
look at if there's
And
pancake
why
batter
would
in
you
the eggs?
do that? I mean,
So
well,
bad.
I know why they do it, to make the eggs go further because
Oh,
it's to save
man.
money, but
Yeah, but it tastes so sweet. It was so bad. That jacked
mm,
my stomach.
I bet it did.
Peppermint dark chocolate. I can't get into peppermint. I do
Mhm.
like mint chocolate chip ice cream, though. That's my favorite ice cream. Mint
Yeah.
chocolate chip. The green mint chocolate chip ice cream. What's your favorite ice cream, Carrie?
Uh, Pralines and cream.
Oh, never heard of that. I've heard pecans.
Yep, pralines
Never
and
heard of that.
cream.
Yes, it's
Yeah, that's
disgusting.
messed up.
Don't get it.
Blech.
And then bleh. JP said, I just watched a couple of Dr. Eric Berg's videos on kidney issues and symptoms cured my cravings for junk food. I am going to do a reaction video of I believe was it Berg? Who was the one who did the video of being silenced? I'm getting these chiropractors confused.
Oh, yeah, I think it was Berg.
Was it Berg?
But maybe there's more than one because I've seen several.
Hey, B Dog, thanks for stopping by. Yeah, I saw he was
Hey.
going live at 9. Yeah, we're gonna end here in a few minutes. So, but I appreciate your support, man.
Yep. Good to see ya.
Yeah. But yeah, if anyone in the chat knows, oh, it was Dr. Berg. Okay. I wasn't sure. I was like, because I know there's like multiple chiropractors. I get them confused. But I am going to do a reaction because I know there's been a couple people reacting, but I have an interesting take on it. My take is going to be different than everyone else's. So yeah, I do plan once I have time to actually like get my stuff together.
I'm not gonna say anything, but I'll bet your take is probably pretty close to what my take would be. And I'm not gonna do a reaction video because I don't do
What's
reactions.
your what's your take? I'll confirm or deny. What's your take?
My take is that he says supplements and things like that. He offers supplements and things to,
Oh, sell stuff, yeah.
you know what, but as a cure rather than it. So I don't think it's his meat based stuff or keto or whatever it is that he is. I don't watch Dr. Berg much. I've seen a few
Yeah.
videos, but because he's selling these things as like cures and stuff like that, that might be why they're
Yeah,
being
that's
stricter on
that's
him.
I'll confirm that's probably one of them, but I will also confirm because even if I, like, tell you the premise, I mean, my reactions, like, this isn't gonna take place in my reaction, but, yeah, everyone's, like, not So I actually went to the WHO site and looked at what they say about low carb. No one else did that. So I actually
Oh,
went to their site and pulled an article that I'm going to show because I'm noticing people just took what he said as truth without looking into it. And I'm like, the WHO openly on the article I pulled promotes low carb for reversal of diabetes and obesity and all that
oh,
stuff.
is that what did he criticize them? Is that what it was
He said
about?
that they're censoring the keto, the people who promote keto, they're censoring, and that's not true. He said that they're censoring, meaning taking them out of the algorithm or whatever and not pushing the videos because they don't want to promote keto or low carb because that goes against mainstream. And YouTube's basing their medical advice off of WHO. And that's actually what it
Ah,
says on their services. But Dr. Berg came out and put a video out announcing that change in their services, which that is true. They're basing their health claims off what WHO says, and that they just don't want people to promote misinformation and like people to go crazy and saying because there's a lot of MLMs and all these things that are like this cures this cures that.
yeah.
That's the stuff they're trying to prevent. But Dr. Berg came out and said that they're essentially not pushing his video out because he promotes keto, and then Dr. Baker and a couple other people kind of doubled down and said, if you're in the low carb space, YouTube is censoring us and all that stuff. I'm like, that's not true. If you go to WHO, they openly promote low carb when it comes to
So
like
I didn't, and
diabetes
I'm
and
gonna be very honest
yeah.
and just say, I mean, I haven't watched any of those videos because I figured that there was some kind of sensationalism going on with that. You know what I mean? Like, because to get people riled up. And so I that good on you for going and looking and
I was curious. I was like, there's no way they can censor like keto or whatever because you can't not say there's no benefits. So, but they're basing it off of WHO. I was like, well, let me just see what WHO says about low carb. And like I was like, okay, so they're not anti low carb. Like they're not
wow.
YouTube's not censoring. Um yeah, so Berg says YouTube is not going to promote alternative
Alternative health.
health
So then
foods.
that's a different animal than keto. See, alternate health is a
Yeah.
whole nother animal.
Yeah, but the people who reacted are
Yeah,
coming at it like they're going to be censored because they're in the low carb space, and they said, "We need to push this out. We need to comment. We need to engage," and all that stuff. I'm like, that's not true. That's not what YouTube
mm,
is saying." So yeah, that's pretty much the approach I'm gonna take, and there's gonna be more to it, but I believe
yeah.
people are kind of
I'm gonna watch it.
misunderstanding. What's that?
I said I'm gonna watch it. I'm gonna
Yeah,
watch
I
your
just think
reaction.
people are, like, being a bit extreme, like, I'm not faulting them, but I just think, like, they're kind of just taking what Dr. Berg says and running with it and kind of misinterpreting things. It's just interesting. I've seen a bunch of videos about reacting to him, and I'm like, "That's not what's
Yeah.
happening." Like, you're taking it out of context, in
Well,
my
it's like
opinion.
the sweetener. Which one was it? It's not stevia. It's one of the sweeteners that was there was a long-term study that had been done and a lot of people jumped on the bandwagon about that. And
Oh,
then
yeah.
Dr. Berry actually said, I read the study. There is some evidence in the study. If you actually pull up the study and read it, and I can't remember which sweetener it was
Yeah.
now. It's not stevia, it's another one, but
Yeah.
I don't think it's stevia. I think it's something else. And I actually have some of that sweetener that was given to me that's in my cabinet. I just can't remember what it
Yeah, I have
was.
no idea. I've never used sweeteners.
Yeah.
But yeah, you said what he probably did wrong. Yeah, it was kinda like what you said, Carrie, was like push his supplements and FDA, yeah. And then someone mentioned about the MLMs too.
Mm-hmm.
I promise one MLM product cured my mom's stage 4. Stop it, JP. Um, but yeah, that's encouraging if this place doesn't ban us. Yeah, they're not. They're not. That's not what's happening. And I plan to do a reaction, and I'm not saying my opinion is better than the others, but I am gonna pull up the WHO article and highlight exactly their beliefs and thoughts on low carb because that's what YouTube is basing their misinformation on. So they're not they're not talking about misinformation as you're keto, you're this. What they're talking about are things like this can cure this and this can
Right.
cure that. That's what they're trying to stop. They're not trying to censor keto carnivore dieters. They're trying to stop people promoting cures is what they're trying to stop. And I understand because I mean it can be harmful to people. I don't think YouTube is a place to we're not going to get into political. I'm not going to get
Right.
political, but
Right.
that, from my understanding and belief, is what is actually happening with their new policy when it comes to health.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Erythritol. Yes, that's the
Where does
one.
it say that?
That was the one. Susan said it down toward the bottom at 8:05. She said it. I think it's erythritol.
Oh, I see. Yeah.
That was the
She's
one. Yeah, that was the one. And Susan E's got a good point there.
Yeah, except politicians and political left want to stop. I know. Like I did a video on lab grown meat. Coming to a town near you. Coming to a town near me in Washington
Yep.
D.C. But yeah, I hypothesized in that video that that's going to be step one of banning meat, is the lab grown meat. Yes, I believe that's coming. That's my guess. Most of those products probably do work, but they go against people. Yeah. Let's see if there's any other comments or questions. Carnivore cure everything, sorry. Yeah. So I think that about wraps it up. Stuffed Andy says allulose is supposed to be pretty harmless. Yeah. I don't know that much
I don't either.
about that to comment on that. But Carrie, do you have any final parting words? Do you have it? Carrie and I are going to be live tomorrow at 7 p.m.
Yes.
Eastern Standard Time. You're going to get us again, but you're going to have a third person on the screen, Dave Mack of No Carb
Yep.
Life. We're going to collab. I have no idea. It's going to be a surprise. Dave Mack is running it, and it's always a surprise when he's running streams. So
It's going to be fun. I can
it's gonna be
already tell
fun.
you it's going to be a wild ride, and I'm
Yep.
looking forward to it, man. I'm jazzed for it.
Yep. So if you're free, 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time tomorrow, join us. We'll be here once again. But any final parting words, Carrie? Do you have anything else coming up in the YouTube world?
I don't really have anything in the YouTube world. I did open well, okay, I will say this. I enjoy doing lives, and so I've got a live stream coming up on Monday that I'm going to post the announcement. You can tell I'm starting to get tired, but I've been up for a long time. That's my excuse, and I'm sticking with it.
It's 9 o'clock my time. It's still early where you are.
This is true. You're an hour later than me. But anyway, I'm gonna get the Pop-Tarts ready. Oh yeah. Who's gonna be eating Pop-Tarts? So, and it's gonna be with Mike Shaw TV, and it's gonna be Meat and Metal Monday on Monday night.
Okay.
I'm still gonna do some little opinion videos and this and that too. So I'm definitely going to be active on my channel. I do have a Spreadshirt shop open with my Metamorphosis t-shirts with the lightning bolts and the lion and all that. You know, I made myself a concert shirt. That's what I wanted to do when I grew up, and I ended up in IT. Go figure. But I love designing logos and stuff. This is not it. This is a Rob Zombie tour shirt. I didn't want to be tacky and wear my own shirt, but anyway. But in my videos, my most recent videos, you will find a link that you can copy and paste into your browser if you're interested in just seeing what I've got out there. And if you happen to buy something, I would be honored. This is just something that I've always wanted to do. I've never designed a shirt before, and actually, so I'm pretty excited about that. And of course, you can find me at my Metamorphosis, also on Instagram. I just opened an Instagram account, so I'm going to try to get out there and post.
Ooh, I'll have to drop you a follow.
Okay. Right now, I've only got pictures from the Rob Zombie Alice Cooper concert on there, so I'm going to have to get some, proper human diet spectrum material out there. But I was testing it. I set that account up like 10 minutes before Alice Cooper came on stage. So it was my brother. I asked him for help because he's on Instagram all the time. And I said, well, hey, I said, I need help setting up how do you do it? He's, oh, it's easy. Just install the app. And then it was like, seriously, like 6 clicks and I was done. I was like, wow, that was simple.
Yeah, you can link it to your Facebook account too. So yeah, you can post both at the same time. But yeah, so I guess we will see you all tomorrow, hopefully, 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. I will also be doing a solo live Sunday. I just made the decision today. I wasn't sure if I was going to. I am scaling back my videos to 1 a week for now, just because I'm so busy. I just can't keep up. So I am scaling back to 1 a week. So to kind of make up for that, lost video or two, I do plan to try to stick with the Sunday lives because those are fun. So I will be planning to do a live on Sunday, just a chill chat as usual. And other than that, please be sure to drop a thumbs up the stream. And if you love hanging out with me and love my content, feel free to drop a sub. I also offer 3 tiers of channel membership. So if you feel so inclined, feel free to join my growing community. I would appreciate you. Other than that, have a great day or night wherever you are in the world, and we will hopefully see you.
Sean says Carrie still needs to read my messages on Instagram. I know I don't post out. I don't ever go there. It's not a habit. So sorry.
Sean is very, very active, but but yeah, we'll see most of you tomorrow night. But yeah, have a good day or good evening wherever you are in the world, whatever time it is where you are, and we will see you tomorrow. Have a good day or night, everyone. Bye.
Good night, everybody.